was a cold, gray afternoon when I stepped back into my childhood home, the weight of the years pressing down on my shoulders like a leaden cloak. The familiar scent of my mother's lavender air freshener, mixed with the stale remnants of old arguments hung in the air, a ghostly reminder of the sharp words exchanged all those years ago. I still felt the sting of their laughter, the derision that echoed in my ears when I declared my dream to transform barren lands through regenerative biotechnology. They had called it a ridiculous obsession, my father shaking his head as if he were watching a child play with matches. "Get a real job, Jill," he had said, the contempt clear in his voice. "You're just embarrassing us." But today, the table had turned. Today, I was no longer just Jill the dreamer. I was an innovator, a pioneer in a field that had once been dismissed as pseudoscience. I had spent years battling skepticism, enduring ridicule from investors who scoffed at my ambitions. Yet one breakthrough led to another, and with the help of bioengineered microbes, I had revived lands thought to be irreparable, turning deserts into lush, fertile fields. I felt a mixture of pride and anxiety as I stood at the gore, fingers hovering over the familiar brass knob. What would they say? Would they even recognize the woman I had become? Taking a deep breath, I opened the door and stepped inside. The living room looked the same, with its worn leather couch and the family pictures lining the walls, moments frozen in time, each one a reminder of the love I once craved from them. My parents turned at the sound of the door creaking, their faces a blend of surprise and confusion. "Jill?" my mother uttered, her voice trembling slightly. The disbelief in her eyes mirrored the disbelief I had felt all those years ago when I first set out on this journey. "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." I smiled, but it felt more like a mask than a genuine expression of joy. They stood before me, an uneasy silence stretching between us, until my younger brother Sam broke the tension. "Is that really you?" he said, a hint of wonder mingling with the remnants of their old skepticism. "I've come to share something with you," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've started a company. We're revitalizing ecosystems using the very techniques I was mocked for." Their expressions shifted from surprise to disbelief, and my heart pounded in my chest. I had come here not just to share my success, but to confront the past. "I brought something for you to see," I said, pulling out my tablet and navigating to the video showcasing our latest project, a barren patch of land that had been transformed into a vibrant community garden, teeming with life. As I pressed play, the images flickered to life. My parents and Sam watched in silence as the video unfolded, the before and after shots. The children playing in the grass where once there was only cracked earth. The farmers smiling as they harvested crops that would sustain them. "Is this real?" my mother whispered, her voice barely audible over the video's gentle narration. "Every bit of it," I said, my heart racing. "We're not just healing the land, we're restoring communities. People are coming together around these gardens, and it's all because I refused to give up." I watched their reactions closely. My father's brows knitted together, his mouth a thin line, as if he were struggling to process the reality of what I had achieved. "But it's just soil," he finally managed, his tone tinged with the remnants of disbelief. "Just soil?" I echoed, a fire igniting within me. "It's the foundation of life, Dad. I knew that all along. I knew it could be transformed just like I have." The video ended, and an uncomfortable silence filled the room once more. I felt raw, exposed, but there was no turning back now. "You called me an embarrassment," I continued, the words pouring out unstoppable. "You told me I'd fail, but I didn't. I succeeded against all odds, and now I'm here to show you that dreams can be more than just whimsical fantasies." My father shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting away from mine, while my mother's expression softened, the edges of her disbelief crumbling. "I never thought. I didn't think you could actually—" "I know," I interrupted gently. "You were afraid for me, but sometimes the scariest dreams are the ones worth chasing. I wanted to prove to you that we can heal what seems hopeless, whether it's the earth or our own lives. A flicker of recognition passed through my father's face, a mix of regret and understanding. I was wrong, Jill, he said finally, his voice thick with emotion. I'm proud of you, my mother whispered, her voice trembling. I stepped forward, the distance between us closing, and wrapped my arms around them both. The embrace was tentative at first, but soon we were holding each other tightly, the warmth of love and understanding flowing between us. As we pulled back, I looked into their eyes, filled with tears and renewed hope. Let's work together, I suggested, a smile breaking through my earlier anxiety. I can show you how we can make a difference, not just in the soil, but in our family too. They nodded, a newfound determination sparking within them. The laughter that had once stung like a whip was replaced with a soft, genuine warmth. We were no longer just a family defined by derision. We were a family united by resilience. And as I walked out of that house, I felt lighter. It wasn't just the weight of the past that had lifted, it was the promise of what lay ahead, a journey of healing both in the earth and in our hearts.